Hi and welcome back to the last week of our series on how to train your Jedi Ferret. This week we're looking about putting them on leads, and there's a lot of different advice out there, and this is the way we do it. There are plenty of other ways of doing it. For us though, if your ferret is not used to being on a lead, which is the case for Roger here, he went out on his first walk on Sunday, so he'd never been on a lead before. But rather than having him here, putting a harness on him while he was in the house and letting him get used to it, for us that isn't ideal because they just focus on the negative of having the harness on and they're trying to get it off. If you put them in a new environment with the harness on, there is so much else going on that they almost forget they've got a harness on because they're so distracted by all the other goodies and smells. And so it becomes, again, going back to it, it goes back to positive reinforcement. So literally then, for the lead, we do have another video on our website of how to put a lead on, but I will very quickly go over it for you. We always use figure of 8 harnesses because they're more secure, and also we have them in our website shop. So firstly, you want to get it so that it goes around your hand in 2 circles. So it's a figure of 8 like that becomes a circle like that, and I'm then going to just put that, I'm moving quickly because he's being fidgety, so I'm going to put that over there. So I'll just put the first ring over, the second ring's here, and I'm putting the second ring under one arm and under the other arm. Now that was super quick, so I appreciate you might not have got all of that, but he's fidgety. So then I'm putting it down. The important thing is that you can get one finger under both like that. That's the important thing, so that he is actually secure but it isn't garrotting him. So now we have a ferret on a harness. As I say, this was the first time for Roger on Sunday. But now, if he's got lots of new smells, he's out and he's doing stuff with it. Watch, the important thing here is that you... He's going to take me for a walk. Because he's in his home environment, he's less happy having his harness on. And as you can see, he's rolling over like that. And that is often the beginning of them trying to work the harness out by trying to loosen this bit off here. So be aware of that. But he's in a home environment now, so he's not too happy. But if we take him out, he'll be a lot happier because there's so much else going on that he can look at. The main important thing though to think about for you and for the safety of the ferret, other than keeping an eye on that harness and making sure that it stays, come out dude, and making sure that it stays tight. So you might have to occasionally through the walk just check that tightness and make sure it's fine, because they might try and work it out. The other thing is making sure that that is on your wrist so that you're holding it like that. Don't ever hold it just like this because they're so quick, and if that comes out of your hand you've lost them. So just be aware that the harness is on securely. Keep checking it over the space of the walk. Make sure that this is on your wrist properly, and as I say, for us it's about taking them somewhere different where there's so many different smells, etc., that it just distracts them from what they're doing. So here we are in the wild now. So if it's the first time your ferret has been out, be aware that they're going to be anxious at all the new smells and all the new sounds. So they might actually be quite cuddly. So as you can see, in a way, Roger's starting to look a bit anxious. He's starting to see about what's going on. So I've got him, I'm holding him, I'm giving him lots of encouragement, lots of fuss. And on Sunday, the very first time he was out on a harness, he sat in my arms for a good 20 minutes, half an hour like this, just taking everything in before he was brave enough to go down and start walking. So don't just throw them down and expect them to start walking. Be aware that if it's new, especially if they're rescue ferrets and they've been out before, you don't know their history, and there might be a lot of hidden anxiety in there. So work with that, let that happen. So he's getting a little bit anxious, but I'm going to try him down now. And you see how he's just watching and smelling everything there. So we'll just pop him down. Remember again to have that harness like that. I'll pop him down and see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Come on, dude. Let's go for a walk. So again, in a way, this is normal, sort of just going to ground, not really sure what's going on. let them do it in their own time. Don't try and force them particularly. Notice how I'm just keeping him close to me. I'm just wrapping it around a few times. Be aware they're inquisitive. Make sure they don't get into anything they shouldn't. So again, in this kind of environment where he's wanting to, they like to go along the side of things, but obviously that's behind bars. So I want to really keep him away from that. So I'm going to let him go along the edge a little bit, but at the same time I'm keeping it out. Also, while I'm here, this is a Nerf dart. Be super careful with things like this. When you're out and about with them, be careful of what they're eating or trying to eat. These can cause blockages, and if you've seen any of our other videos, we almost lost one of our boys to a blockage. It was literally a case of euthanize or operate, but we don't know what the operation's going to yield. It might still be euthanize, but it turned out it was a part of a Nerf dart he'd eaten that had just completely blocked him, and he made a wonderful recovery, but it was touch or go. So please be careful with things like this. I'm going to put it down there and take it and throw it in the bin later. But when they're out in the wild in a non-controlled environment, so again, notice how he's wanting up now. He's wanting a bit of reassurance. That's fine, a bit of reassurance. The other thing to watch out for is other walkers with dogs. The bigger dogs can be just as dangerous, but in some ways they can be okay. But just watch them. They may come forward if they're not on a lead. They may come darting forward super quick. So just keep your eye out and make sure that your ferret is up in your arms if there's any dogs on off leads, or be aware of where all the dogs are. And be very aware of the terriers, obviously, because that's what they do for a living, really. So that's kind of it. You can see he's kind of happy like this. Even if the first time you take them out, they're just in the harness and they're just being carried and looking around themselves. This is just as good. It's new stimulation, it's new smells, it's new sights for them, and it can be just as good and just as refreshing for them. And then next time they come out, they might be brave enough to go down on the lead. So don't force them into anything. They will tell you when they're wanting cuddles and when they're ready to go down. Best thing to do is just enjoy it though, and if you've got any questions, let us know. As you all know, we run monthly ferret walks, as does Little Paws, so come along to those and we'll help you out with anything you want to know. You guys take care, and we will see you next month.